Thank you, thank you. Josh, you were supposed to read something, eh? So I... Oh.
So today I have the privilege of reading the text that we'll be learning from. So if you have your Bibles, please turn with me to Matthew. Oh, thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Luke chapter 15, beginning with verse 11. And we'll be reading from the New Living Translation, New International Version. He told me like 5 times NIV, so I'll make sure I got the right version. All right? So you can feel free to read along with me. I'll have it up here as well. So Luke 15, verses 11 to 32 says, Jesus continued, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of estate. So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he had came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am, starving to death? Verse 18 says, I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. Verse 24 says, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him, what's going on? Your brother has come, he replied. Your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back and safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. You never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes come home, you killed the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now he is found.
Amen, 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 amen. Thank you, Pastor Josh. That was a request from his mom to let Pastor Josh read for you, as if I don't know how to read. But he did a great job, didn't he? Thank you, Pastor Josh. This morning we come and talking about a story that probably most of you know and heard it many times. I've learned that story when I was year big in Haiti. There were some missionaries that came from the United States that learned Creole just like I learned English. And they had a bunch of youth kids in a room, and he told that story. I was probably 6, 7, 8 or something like that. I'll never forget. But today, we come to see the heart of a father, a forgiving heart. He forgave he forget, and he restored. We don't see that too often. And I call it like a second chance in life. Isn't it nice to have a second chance in life? Isn't it a good, a wonderful thing? First of all, we see the foolish decision of that young man. He goes to his father and says, "Father, give me the share of the inheritance like you owed me," like he owed to him. And I don't know how it is in your country, Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, Haiti, or whatever. Usually, when somebody receives an inheritance, it has to be from somebody who's dead, right? Somebody who's passed away. Somebody before they died, they went to a public notary or lawyer, if you will, and to have a last will and testament. I, so-and-so, of sound mind and spirit, I'm leaving certain thing for so-and-so, and so on and so forth. You cannot, while your father is well, living, to go to him, "Hey, Father, give me what you're supposed to give me after you're dead. I want it now, 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 now." I've never seen anything like that. I don't know about you. Today, that inheritance thing is a big thing. Every time I go to the emergency room, sometime with Sir Rosalind, my wife, they at the emergency room, they always ask me, before they ask me, why are you here? What brought you here? They say, "Do you have a last will and testament?" I don't know if they ever ask you that. What that has to do with, I don't feel too good, I had a bad night, I come to see a doctor. Do you have a last will and testament? This is to see if you have any family, wife and kids that you're going to leave. So if you don't, it goes to the hospital. So the last will and testament is a big thing. And many of us, unfortunately, from the West Indies, we don't take it seriously. Because here, it's a big thing. Before the father or the mother or whoever, if you have kids, you're supposed to have a last will and testament. After your death, there'll be no fight, because it's right there. After your death, there's going to be a ceremony or meeting, if you will, and they're going to say, the father said he's going to leave certain such for so-and-so, and so on and so forth. That last will and testament inheritance thing is a big, big thing, because I can tell you firsthand. I used to work for the government, United States government. I was an immigration officer. And I've seen things, for 25 years, I've seen things that really, really, really bothered me. There was a young man from Morocco, Casablanca, if I'm not mistaken. A good-looking young man. And he came, obviously, at home. He has his father, family. They're probably well off, have money, camels, oil, all kind of stuff. But according to the law of his country, when the father dies, if the firstborn is not present, is not here, he cannot have any inheritance. He cannot receive anything. So this young man probably came to the state to study, to get a degree and go back home and be the head of the family business. He came and applied for a travel permit, which is not a big deal. So, for some reason, he didn't come to me. He went to the guy next to me, which was a Jewish guy that spent some time in Germany, spoke German, and he thought he was German. He thought he was even Hitler, because I never see anyone that take pleasure in make people's life miserable. The man came and said to the man, "What do you want?" He explained the situation. "My father is on his deathbed. I have words for my family. I must be there ASAP. So I come to get a travel permit. Where are your applications?" The guy, he gave him his applications. That's not a big deal. I've done it a million times. People from Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, Guyana, wherever you're from, it's a question. You can travel in emergency, and it has to be proven. You give me all your papers, I see the death certificate, I see this, I see that, I see this, I see that. Then I ask you for the application. There is a money order, there's pictures and this and that, and that's it. Sometimes I may have to go to my supervisor and get his approval, but usually this is something I can do. I'm authorized to do that. But this guy, that German guy, for some reason, he decided to make that young man's life miserable. The young man pleaded, he begged, he got on his knees, he even kissed the man's hand, like that. He said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm there, I'm looking, there's nothing I can do, because he's an officer, I'm an officer. I'm supposed to be on his side, whatever he's doing, although I didn't like what he was doing, but I cannot say anything. I cannot go over his head to go tell them, and come to me, I'll give it to you." I could not do that. I'd be in big trouble. So the man got on his knees, the man begged. So if he's not there, he's going to lose his inheritance, which is a lot of money, land, animals, oil, or family business, whatever it was. I could not take it anymore. It was about 5 minutes to 12. I said, "Okay, I'm going to lunch." I could not watch that anymore. I went to lunch. When I came back from lunch, there was an African-American lady, security guard, with the guns, all the things. And then she called me, "Mr. Frantz." I said, "Yes." "Do you know what that guy do?" I said, "What guy?" "This guy." When the man got on his knees, begged him to get that paper so he could get his inheritance, he said no, and he took the application and threw it to his face and said, "Get out of here, you bum or something." She said, "I don't know what kept me. I didn't take out my gun and shoot that. You would have come in here, I'm in jail or something." This is one case. There was another case that was involving me. One morning, I was doing my work. There was a young lady, very sharp, good-looking young lady, that came to me and started speaking French. I said, "Oh, how does she know I speak French?" And what she wanted was her green card was expired, and she wanted to renew the green card. I said, "Oh, it's no big deal. That's what we do here." I'm telling her the form she needs, pictures, money orders, and this and that. And then certain question I have to ask her. I said, "How long have you been in the United States?" She says, "Close to 30 years. I said, 30 years? I said, "Oh." And she said, "I'm married to a guy from Texas. He's a musician. He's on TV all the time." She gave me his name like I'm supposed to know, but I was not impressed. I said, "If I may tell you, as an officer, being here that long, you're overqualified to become an American citizen. Do you know that?" She said, "Yes, that's what everybody tells me. But I can't become a citizen of the United States." "Why not?" "Well, she's from France, Paris. according to the laws of this country. And her parents has a lot of business, probably a mall, a restaurant, and this and that. And she was the firstborn. And if she was to go to get her inheritance as an American citizen, she will not get nothing. She had to remain a French citizen. So even if she lives here 50 years, she has to have a green card. After her parent passed, that she can go back and get her inheritance, and after that she can come back and make herself an American citizen. So you see, there are laws, there are a lot of stuff. This young man didn't know anything about that. He went to his father, "Father, give me my share of inheritance." And the father gave him whatever was supposed to go to him. And after a couple of days, he takes everything and he took off for a far away country where he started spending money like crazy and living wild lives. And when you have money, when you have property, you have a lot of friends. You know that, right? When you have money, you got friends coming from all over. When you turn around, you had 50 people. They're all your friends because you got money. And what's happening? He keeps spending money. He goes to the harlots, prostitutes, and other stuff, you know, in the world, living a wild life, spending that money. And what happened? When you have money, it doesn't matter how much money. The best way, you got to invest it. You got to be how to maintain that money. If you keep spending, what's going to happen? They said a fool and his money will soon be parted. So he became broke. There was no money, nothing. So all of a sudden he looks left, he looks right. He didn't see all his friends. They all disappeared. They don't need him anymore because he had nothing. So now he's getting hungry, he's getting cold, he's getting tired. He starts looking for work, for a job. He went to one of the biggest land and where they had a lot of servants, a lot of stuff to do. And he's looking for work. And they ask him, "What can you do? What do you do? What are your credentials? What can you do?" He couldn't do anything because he never went to a vocational school. He never learned anything. As he was born, his father was rich, so many servants, so he had everything that he needed. So therefore, he never bothered, went to school or learned any skills or anything. There was nothing he could do. And the only thing he could do is to go feed the pigs. That's the only thing that he was qualified for. So he had no choice. He was hungry. He was tired. And he needed food. So he went and started feeding the pigs. How many of you ever feed pigs here? How many of you? Well, as you know, I'm from Haiti, and I was born in the capital, in the city, what they call a city boy. But my father had some land in the country, a couple of acres or whatever. He built a small house there. He had some fruit trees, a bunch of stuff. Every year, when school breaks in the summer, he sent me, my big brother, my sister, my little brother here. He sent all of us to the countryside for 2 months or so for summer vacation. Oh, I couldn't wait for that. I loved that. And when I got there, as a city boy, there was a young man about, not too far from my age. So he was a country boy. So we became friends, and his father had all kind of animals, donkeys, mule, horses, pigs, and everything. And one day he asked me if I want to go feed the animals with him, as a city boy. I said, yeah. It's not something that I see every day. All the horses were taking care of themselves, the donkeys, the chicken, the turkeys, and so many animals. But when he got to the pigs, then that was a different story. I mean, approaching that thing, I said, oh my gosh, what is that smell? So he went to the pig thing. I see mama pig, papa pigs, baby pigs, so many pigs. And they were in the mud with the fishes, with the animals' waste and everything. And the smell, I said, oh my God. And what he was feeding them was rotten avocados falling from the trees, they picked from the ground, breadfruits, everything that is rotten, that human cannot consume, that was too good for the pigs. So he went and started going, and he asked me if I want to feed the pigs. I thought I was going to just take the avocado as it was and toss it to the pig. He said, no, you got to go down and put it in his mouth. I said, are you crazy? He said, yeah, especially the baby pigs. I said, no, man, forget it. So then he went, got in the mud, smelly, and the fishes, the waste, all kind of stuff. So I had a choice to refuse. I had a choice to say no. I had a choice to leave. Now, let's look at this young man. He didn't have any choice. He didn't have the choice that I had. So he had to go and make himself one with the pigs. He's sleeping where they were sleeping, eating what they were eating. Sometimes he has to watch left and right if nobody's looking to take what the pigs are eating and put it in his mouth. He was so hungry. And those other servants, there were other servants. There were maids taking care. There were caretakers. There's gate boys, all kind of people there. That could have said, what about that boy feeding the pigs? Let's bring him something. Bring him a bowl of soup, a piece of bread, some water or something. Nobody cared about him. Nobody gave him anything. So he had to feed the pigs and keep feeding the pigs and keep watching who's watching and put some and put it in his mouth and drink what the pigs were drinking. Then he came to his senses. Oh, look at me. How many people in my father's house have food more than they can eat? How many servants have meal, breakfast, lunch, and supper? And look at me here. I'm eating and feeding a pig. I will go to my father. I will say, Father, I've sinned against heaven and I've sinned against you. Don't even consider me as one of your sons. Consider me as a servant. At least I will have a roof over my head. I will have 3 meals a day. I will have clean clothes. I will take a bath, wash my teeth or whatnot. He kept repeating that, rehearsing that. But sometimes we take decision. Oh, what we're going to do, but we don't take action. That boy said it, he repeated it, but he got up. He said, enough is enough. I'm going to go to my daddy. He didn't only say it, but he did it. I remember one time, there was a lady that came to me, said, Pastor Franco, I want you to pray for me. I said, okay, sister, I'm a servant of God. That's what I'm supposed to do. But I don't really ask them why. Sometimes it's personal. And I said, yes, ma'am, what can I do for you? She said she came in this country and left her husband in Haiti with about 5 kids. Now, she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't drive. She doesn't even have a job. And they're waiting on her to send money to Haiti for the kids to go to school, for the husband to eat. Their husband probably is not even working. So there was a man that offered her all these things that she could not get. Well, I'll give you a room where you can stay. I'll probably ask my boss to give you a job. And I will drive you to work back and forth. And I can probably give you some money you can send to your husband to feed the kids and them to school. And what comes with that? Eh? When a man is doing that for you, is all your hope. What comes? Can you refuse him anything? You can talk to me when I preach. No, when I preach, I'm not a preacher, everybody shut up. No, talk to me. I mean, a man that do that for you, you don't speak their language, you don't drive, you don't have no money, a husband with 5 kids in Haiti waiting on you. And the man, all of a sudden, he gives you a place to stay, gives you a job in his job, he's driving you back and forth to work, he's giving you money, or when you get paid, you give him back, feeding you. So now when he asks for any favor, what you going to say to him? All right? What you going to say? No? You're going to say no? And you're going to kick you out. What you going to do? You probably 1 in a million. Well, anyway, I said, my gosh, what can I say to her? I cannot tell her, get up and leave that situation. I got nothing to offer her, nothing meant to give to her. And I'm pretty sure Sister Rosalind will not be very happy with that. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, I'll pray with you. Sometimes you got to be bold, like that young man. He said it and he did it. I'm going to go back to my father. Father, I've sinned against heaven. I've sinned against you. Don't even consider me as one of your sons. Consider me as one of your servants. And he got up and he started going. As he was on the way, the father and some servants saw him coming. For the life of me, I don't know, how did they recognize him? Because he didn't come back the way he left. His hair, beards, the filthiness, the clothes, the shoes. You seen somebody wearing a pair of shoes and you still see all his 10 toes? You ever seen that? I travel a lot. I've seen a lot of stuff. And that doesn't shock me, People wear shoes and you still see their 10 toes. So that's the way he was coming back. And probably, not straight as he was. His hair was a mess. His clothes, and let alone the smell of the pigs. And the father said, isn't that my son? And one of the servants said, I don't think so. You think so? Yes, I think it's him. That is him. Oh my goodness. He didn't even wait for the young man to come to the gate. He ran and met him halfway. That's the heart of a father. He put his arm around him with all the dirty clothes, the smell of pigs, his hair, his teeth never been washed. He took him back home. That's the heart of a father. That's how Jesus Christ sometimes sees us. We think sometimes, we got to get a manicure, a pedicure, we got to get our hair done, we got to do this, we got to do that before we come to Jesus. Just as you are. Like that song said, just as I am, without one plea. That's the way I know people say, I'd like to come, but first, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, The young man said it, and he did it. When you mean business with God, God means business with you. He got up and started walking, and his father ran, met him halfway. He brought him to the big land or whatever they had. Told the servant, go get the best robe and put a ring in his finger and kill the biggest calves. For today, we're going to have a celebration. My son that died has came back to life. He was lost, but now he's found. Put his arm around him. I'm wondering, will they cut his hair, shave him, give him a bath, and put some deodorant, perfume, cologne, whatever, and to just put the best robe on all that filth? Put the best ring in his finger and take him into celebration. That's the heart of a father. And the young man was surprised. That's not what he expected. He thought, like us, your son do that to you, and you see him in front of the house, what do you need? What do you want? You got some nerve coming back here. You got the audacity to come here after what you did. Where are the dogs? Put the dogs on him. Who gave you permission to come and show your face here after what you did? You got some nerve. Isn't that you're going to say? And the father, the speech the young man prepared, Father, I've sinned against heaven, I've sinned. The father didn't even hear that. He was too busy taking him, loving him, forgotten, forgive, and restored. It's a good thing to have a second chance in life, to be forgiven, forget what you do, and being restored. So all these things, while these things going on, the festivities, the dancing, the eating, the drinking, and everything, and the eldest son came back from the field, working all day in the hot sun, probably sweaty, hungry, tired, and he came and he, but what's going on? Maybe that's the wrong house. That's not my house. What's happening? He called one of the servants. Hey, you come here. What's going on in there? Well, it's like this, boss man. Your brother that left, he came back, and now your father is so happy. He's killing the biggest calf, put the best robe, a ring in his finger. He's having a celebration. He says, my son that was dead now has come back to life. Oh, he was mad. He was mad. He was mad. He was mad. He would not enter, you know. And the father somehow heard. He came out. My son, what's happening? Oh, I've been slaving for you all my life. I never disobeyed you. You never give me a little goat to celebrate with my friends. And this loser that left you, taking all your goods, wasted it with the prostitute, and the losers like him come back, and that's what you did for him. I'm telling you, sometimes in life, even in church, when God bless you, that make people jealous of you. Do you know that? Sometimes you did something bad, and God, Jesus, restored you, forgave you, forget. And you come to church and people looking at you. How can he or she come back to the church? He got some nerve. He used to sing in the choir. He used to play the organ. He used to. How come? But God had forgiven you. There was a guy, preacher, named Jimmy Swaggart. You all heard this story. And God restored him. He came back playing the piano, singing on TV. People, everywhere I go, I hear all kinds of accusations. I say, who are you? God had forgiven him, so why can't you forgive him? After what he did, what about you? What have you done? We sometimes so easy to condemn, accuse. I'm gonna read, for save time, a few people, not that they had sin or anything, because we all sin every day, but they had a second chance in life. It's a good thing to have a second chance in life. First, Bartimaeus, you know Bartimaeus. In Luke 18:35 to 43, he was born all his life blind, sitting by the side of the road begging. And one day he heard a big commotion. He says, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, it's Jesus. He's going to pass by. Jesus is going to pass by. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to lose that chance." He said, "Jesus of Nazareth, have mercy on me, son of David." People say, "Shut up, man. He doesn't have time for you. Shut your mouth. The man is busy." That happens sometimes in church. When you're calling Jesus, people want to shut your mouth. He got up. He said it louder. "Jesus of Nazareth, have mercy on me, son of David." And Jesus, in his deity, is God. He heard the man. When you're looking for him, you're really looking. He knows. And he says, "Go get him." They went to him and, "Be of good cheer. The master is calling you." Then he got up. They led him to Jesus. Jesus says, "What should I do for you?" It's like Jesus didn't know that he was blind. Sometimes he wants you to talk. Tell him what you want. Sometimes we're looking for things, we don't know what we're looking for. Say, "What do you want?" "I want to see." That's what he told Jesus. Jesus didn't ask him what kind of insurance you have. Who is your father? How much money you have in the bank? You didn't ask him that. You want to see? So, see. You know, this man had a second chance in life. I don't want to stay too long. There is Zacchaeus. You know, Zacchaeus. You know, he was what the Haitian call magouilleur. He was at the market making people pay more than they should. And he heard Jesus. So he had all the worldly things, but he needed something spiritual when he heard Jesus. He ran, climbed that tree, tried to look for Jesus. And Jesus, again, he knows when you're looking for him truthfully. All the crowd around him, he knew there's somebody that he says, "Zacchaeus, come down, because today I'm going to stay in your house." Everybody was shocked, but he got a second chance. And another guy, the man by the pool, 38 years, by the pool, needed a second chance in life. And Jesus came and he's looking at everybody, you know, when the angel came to agitate the water, people jumped and stuff, but that man is still laying there on that mat. And Jesus is looking and went to him, "Do you want to be healed?" The man said, "Yes, Jesus, I want to be healed. But every time I try to go to the pool, someone jump before me, because some of them, they're a little bit, you know, paralyzed, but they can walk, they can jump. But me, I cannot move. Before I go to the pool, somebody else jump first." And I must tell you, the Bible said it's the first one that jumped in the water after it's been agitated. That's the one that's going to be healed. There can be 15 people jump in the pool. Only one came out healed. All the 14 came out not healed. They only had their clothes wet. You understand? The first one that jumped. And this man didn't even have his clothes wet. Jesus said, "Get up, take your bed, and walk." He didn't even have to jump in the pool. So he had a second chance in life. I don't know if I have time to go through all of them. And the sickness of King Hezekiah, Isaiah 38, a man that was a king, big man, and he got sick. While he's there on the ground facing the wall, he cried out to the Lord, "Oh God, you know I've walked before you with integrity of heart. Please." And God heard his prayer. He sent the prophet to tell him, "Be of good cheer. The God said he heard your prayer. He's going to add up 15 years in your life." I know a guy who told me, "Oh, God only gave him 15 years. I said, do you know if you're going to live 15 minutes? Do you know if you're going to live 15 days? God gave him 15 years. God gave it to him. If God gave me 15 years, God gave it to me, the giver of life. I will not be worried about COVID-19. God gave me 15 years. I will not be worried about the plane falling down with me. Other people will die, not me. God gave me 15 years. I will not be worried about the car accident. I will not be worried about somebody shoot me. God gave me 15 years. Nobody can take 1 second out of it. The giver of life gave me 15 years. The guy said, "Oh, only 15 years. People, they talk. They don't even think. You know? I don't know. God gave me 50. Oh, my gosh. You know? I know I can never be sick. I don't care about COVID-19. I don't care going to Haiti. The plane fall down. Those Haitians try to kidnap me. I will not be worried about that. I will laugh to their face. God gave me 15 years. What you going to do? What can you do? I got 15 years. What can you do? Shoot me. Go ahead, shoot me. You know? And we got Jonas, we got Lazarus that was dead for 4 days. And God, Jesus was there. He knew. Mary and Martha. "Oh, Jesus, your friend, the one that you like, is sick. He's going to die." Let him die. That's for the glory of God. Jesus knew what he was going to do. He went before the tomb. He says, "Lazarus, come forth." He had to call him by name, the pastor said. He had to call him by name, because if he just said, "Come forth," everybody going to come. Okay. The last one is the woman caught in adultery. Finish, Pastor. That's the last one. In John 8, 1 to 11, that she was caught in the act of adultery, and everybody stoning her to death. And Jesus came to the scene, and Jesus said, "What's going on?" "Oh, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. According to the laws of Moses, such women should be stoned to death." Jesus knelt down and started writing on the ground with his finger. And he said, "He who are without sin, cast the first stone." And while he's writing, maybe one of them went to see, I wonder what is he writing on the ground. When he see what Jesus was writing, oh my gosh, he took off. My mama didn't raise no fool. He threw the stone on the ground and he took off. And the other one said, "Hey, where are you going?" He said, "Go look, see what he's writing on the ground. So you'll find out." He threw the stone, he took off. Another. But Jesus knows. He's seeing them, what they're doing. He knows not only what they're thinking, he saw what they were doing. And he got up and said, "Where are your accusers? Where are those who were accusing you?" "Oh, my Lord, I don't know." They took off one after another, threw the stone on the ground. "I also am not accusing you, but go and sin no more. I'm giving you a second chance. Go and sin no more." Okay, we all need to be forgiven. We all need to be restored. Do we ever forgive anyone who had wronged? Do we ever forgive? Do we ever give a second chance to anyone? So that's what we all want, right? It's a wonderful thing. Look at that young man. He's been restored. It's like he never did it. And his brother said, since he's been restored, he's going to start from scratch. Maybe when my father dies, he's going to get another inheritance. That's what he was probably worried about, because he's been restored. Once you've been restored, you're brand new. It's like you never did what you did. Okay? So it's time maybe for me to go. You know, and how many times where people said, I forgive you, but I won't forget you? Have you heard that? So what's the use? Forgive you, but they cannot forget you. Every time they see you, that's the first thing going to come in mind. There he is, there she is. You remember what she did? You remember what he did? They forgive, but they cannot forget you. And the last one is Matthew 18, 21, 22. And Peter tells Jesus, Lord, how many times shall I forgive those who wrong me, who sin against me? Is it 7 times? And what did Jesus say? Huh? 70 times 7. So those of you who know the math, do the math for me. 70 by 7 is what? Okay. So, I mean, that's me. When I preach, especially Haitian church, I preach in a lot of churches, Spanish, Haitian, English, whatever. I don't want people to just keep looking at me. Maybe that's what you make me sweating. I feel like a Sunday school, Bible study. Talk to me. So, people, if any of you feel like you need a second chance, let me see who feel they need a second chance by the raise of your hand. You need a second chance. You need to be forgiven. You need to be forgotten. You need to start from zero, start from scratch. If you don't mind, if you bold enough, if you want to come forward, we will pray with you. Those of you who feel like you need a second chance, don't be worried about who's going to see you, who's going to look in, who's going to talk. You know, nobody can do anything for you when the time comes to put you in the casket. Nobody. Your husband, your friends, your best friend, your boyfriend, your boss, nobody. When they put you in that hole, nobody. That young man had a lot of friends when he had money. But when he got before the pig, who was there with him? Did he have any of these people with him? He was there by himself in front of the pig. And when he had money, he had about 50 people helping him spending money. People, I'm telling you to God, Jesus and God, He is God, is a God of second chance. So go to Him, don't go to anybody else. May God bless you.